So you came from a fist-fighting environment in your childhood, but presumably you had to tone it down a little bit when you got to college.
Oh, yeah.
What was that like? What were your college years like?
College was great, man. I studied, lifted weights, and drank beer. That was pretty much my college experience. See, I always try to tell people, because a lot of my friends, complexity are in college now, you can have it all. It's about time management. I would always, strictly structure my week to where I had my classes, I would study between classes, and I would come home and after dinner, say from 6 to 9, 6 to 10, I would hit the books. Most people would be watching TV, doing anything but studying and shrugging it off. And then I'd go to the bar from 10 to 3, go out and party till 4 in the morning, whatever, but I'd make my 9 a.m. class. People always ask me back in college, how in the hell can you have straight A's and just be partying 4 or 5 nights a week? It's time management. You hit the gym, you hit dinner, you do your work, and then you go and play. You can have it all, but most people don't have very good time management skills, and they end up partying too hard and their grades suffer, and that's a shame.
Were you in any kind of clubs or extracurricular programs?
Tons. I had 3 offices in my fraternity. I had 3 or 4 offices on campus. I was involved with a couple of charity groups. I was incredibly busy. I was always going from meeting to meeting to meeting. And, it made college a really great experience. I studied in Spain for a semester and did a lot of traveling on the weekends. And I always just tried to broaden my horizons, in whatever way I could. And, it was a great time to get the education, graduate first in the class, and I'd go into the honors cottage and just to kind of see how some people had to live to get straight A's. It's just like, dude, I'm not going to live like that. It's like, you're never going to see a bra in your life. What are you doing? And, so it was fun because I hung out with the super geeks that got straight A's, and I hung out with the guys who partied so hard they'd been in college for 6 years, and just lived it out.
After you graduated, what kind of situation did you find yourself in?
I knew I wanted to get another degree, and before I graduated, I actually decided on law. I was just burned out of business. I knew I wanted to spend my life in business, but I just wanted to get a different kind of education, so I went to law school. I never really wanted to be a lawyer. I just wanted the legal education because I was confident it would benefit me in business, and it has. So I'd already taken the bar exam and everything and knew I was going to Emory. I had about 6 months off, so I did some traveling and then hit law school. So
in law school, did you find that your work party mentality served you well there?
Yeah, it actually did. It really did. It was a very different scene than the big college campus. I lived in a townhouse with a friend of mine, and instead of going to the local bars in Ames, Iowa, we were going to the big clubs and things in Atlanta. But those were some really fun years as well. I met some great guys in law school that are still some of my dearest friends. And Atlanta back in the day was really a party capital. It slowed down significantly, but yeah, we had a lot of good days back then too.
So how did this rambunctious young lawyer end up getting into CS?
I've told the story a bunch of times, but basically I graduated law school and I was kind of just job hunting, and I was pretty burned out because law school can be pretty taxing. So I just was kind of taking some time off, traveling around the world, scuba diving in a lot of places, and I lived in a luxury high-rise in Buckhead. It's part of Atlanta. And I met a dude who just moved there from Dallas, Texas, and we hit it off, and we were going out sometimes. And one night I went over to his apartment to pick him up to go out, and he was sitting on his computer. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? We're going out. The girls are waiting. What are you doing? And he had showered. He's in his bathrobe, and he's sitting at the computer. I'm like, what the hell is this? He's like, this is Half-Life. So I'm like, what? You're playing these people online? He's like, yeah. So I got Half-Life, got hooked on Half-Life. A few months later, whatever, I go back into his apartment, it's the exact same scenario, and he's playing another game. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I thought we were playing Half-Life. He's like, this is Counter-Strike. This is the future. Got hooked on Counter-Strike. Probably a year and a half later, I found out there was a competitive community, which just blew my mind. There was leagues and teams, and I just loved it. I loved everything about it, and that was how it all started.
So you then became a competitor?
Yeah, I was never very good. I played on Cal O teams and probably got to maybe Cal main skill. But, it just is somewhere along the line. I was playing for a team called Profile out in New York City. It's just a bunch of buddies playing. And, when I do things 110%. I don't know how to do things half-ass. So when I sit there for practice, 7 o'clock Eastern every night, and only 2 people show up, I get pissed off. I'm like, don't waste my time not coming to practice. We're going to practice and we're going to get good. So finally I just got annoyed and quit and decided to start up my own team where I could find people that would show up to practice and we could have fun and play in Cal-O and be serious. Then it just started snowballing. The competitive side of me took over and I wanted a better player and a better player, and I benched myself and got a better player, and you know, that's where we are.
So the transition from player to owner actually stemmed out of a frustration with the people that you were already playing with at the time.
Yeah. It started from I just wanted to have fun, and then I just can't stand losing. So I just wanted to make it better and better and better, and benched myself because I wasn't, I had a job and a wife, and I didn't have time to really dedicate myself to being, come here, buddy, to being good enough. When these little guys show up, see, you don't have any time. Come here. This is my buddy Jordan. He is Spider Jordan. He's Spider-Man. He's got Spider-Man sunglasses, Spider-Man pajamas, Spider-Man shoes, Spider-Man shirt, Spider-Man underwear, Spider-Man everything, right? And that's a microphone. Don't touch it. So, how you doing, Spidey? Yeah? You want to be on TV? No? Well, you better go see your mama then. But, yeah, so the competitive side pretty much just took over, and the history is all written in the history books. And it was a hell of a lot of fun along the way. Very stressful, but a lot of fun.
So here you are. You've made your own team now. Do you have any sort of planned business model? Is it a business to you yet?
No, it really didn't start out so much as a business. I was doing extremely well financially, and this was kind of my hobby. It did evolve into a business model where, the goal was to build championship teams in a profitable website property, and then bring in, sponsors, which never really materialized. We got great support from some smaller companies, but never could land, the big one. So I ended up spending, a lot more money than I had anticipated on spending. But, I look back on it and I don't regret it. And, complexity is, kind of an invisible trophy on my lifetime achievements. And I do consider complexity, something very, very successful. And, it's had its ups and downs, but it's still here. And in esports, just sticking around is half the battle sometimes.
So once you realized you wanted to make a professional team, you got on TSN, and you were a little jarring.
Yeah, that was actually a publicity stunt gone wrong. I was very intentional on how brash I came out. I wanted to make a splash in an industry where it was very difficult to make a splash. At the time, there were a lot of quote-unquote Jason Lakes coming out. A bunch of phonies throwing their money around, starting Counter-Strike teams. Even some did pay their players, most didn't. Most were scams. So I needed to get us as much publicity as soon as possible, because once I decided I was going to be serious about it, I wanted the publicity. Not happy with the way it came out and the historical, significance of it, because I came out like a jackass. But on the other side of the coin, we got the publicity, and we were very love it or hate it from day one. And so it was successful to a point, but if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't have come out that harsh right out of the gate.
So do you think maybe you were representing your brand a little irresponsibly in those earlier days?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because really complexity was a hobby to me then. It became more and more and more serious, but I was just having a good old time. I mean, I was serious. I was paying the players. I was paying their travel. Always operated it with integrity, and never not paid anyone or, screwed anybody over. I still owe some people some money, and they're, on my list to get paid back as soon as possible. Yeah, I would have done it differently, and it was a little bit irresponsible, but I look back on it and laugh now, live and learn.